So I'm Simon, this is Tech My Life Video, and let's have a look at Apple's presentation. Let's jump back in.
I use my Apple Watch and its amazing features throughout the day. Before I go out in the morning, I check the weather. At work, Apple Watch notifies me with everything from messages to news alerts and keeps me right on schedule.
So I gotta say, I've had an Apple Watch since the beginning. And my question to you, if you've got an Apple Watch, is do you actually use it the way Tim Cook says he uses it? Do you use your watch for the weather and everything else? Really? More and more, I use it to notify me of something, and it just is a choice of then whether I take my phone out of my pocket and look up the more detailed information on a bigger screen. It's not like I'm walking into the next room. Now, yes, if you're using this watch and you're not using a phone, so you're using a cellular version and you don't have your phone on you, I can understand. But really, I use it for telling the time and checking what the notification is and just choosing whether I take my phone out at that point. So yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments on maybe how you use your use your Apple Watch versus your iPhone in these situations. Let's talk about this blue and red Apple Watch. Now, this is not a cheap product. In Australia, if you're looking for the larger size, you're talking kind of $600 to $800, depending on whether you get cellular. You know, I don't consider that a cheap product. I don't think that you're dropping money on this. You're not getting a couple of these things. Do you want red or blue? Because with the base kind of colors, you have a lot more options with band colors. But if you go blue or red, you're going to get a lot of clashes, I feel. So you're creating a rod for your own back, especially with a watch, which is a somewhat of a fashion thing where you may want to change the band. I think you're going to limit yourself. So the red and the blue, as cool as they sound, I don't think they're that functional. But the thing we're really getting from the watch, and we have really for a long time from Apple, is that they're about health. That's really the focus of Apple. It's about the health benefits that this can provide, especially for things like fall detection and people potentially having heart rhythm issues. Those kind of things are really the underlying focus of what Apple is about with this product. The benefits cannot be underestimated, the benefits of these features. Can I just say one thing about Apple Watch faces? Please just let people design their own. Please let other developers develop watch faces. Just please, Apple, come on. I mean, let's get with the program. Let developers develop those. Let them sell them in the App Store. That's the next move for watch faces.
We call it the Solo Loop. The Solo Loop is remarkably simple. No clasp, no buckle, no overlapping parts, just one continuous piece. Made from custom liquid silicone, the Solo Loop is stretchable so you can easily slip it on and off your wrist. It looks great and it's durable and it's swim-proof, so it can go anywhere.
This single loop, I think Casey Neistat is the reason why Apple made this, because he actually made a video where he used another company's watch band. It had Velcro and it was meant to be for surfing and things like that. And it came apart and he lost his Apple Watch. And I think Apple have gone, we're going to solve that problem. I'm actually interested to see how this thing works, because it's a single size. What if you've got really massive hands? How do you get it over your hands? I can't actually wear any of the the kind of leather loop or the metal, the mesh. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but the mesh loop from Apple, because even on the loosest setting, I can't get it over my hand. So I can't use any of those watch bands from Apple. Casey Neistat, check out his video. I'm sure it's online somewhere.
Family setup. With Family Setup, you can use your iPhone to pair watches for your children or older members in your household who don't have their own phones.
Helicopter parents, Apple to your rescue. What is this all about? Family Setup for Apple Watch. So they're basically saying, if you've got older parents or younger kids who don't have a phone, you can give them a watch. Is that because iPhones have got so expensive? Because I don't know anybody too old to have an iPhone. My parents have got iPhones, and yeah, they're pretty old. And kids, I think I'd be more inclined to give them an old iPhone. Give them an old iPhone. It has Find My Phone and location sharing. I think I'd be more inclined to do that. I think this is to try to get kids, harassing their parents till they get them an Apple Watch, and then they're an Apple Watch wearer for the rest of their life. So yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about this whole family setup thing and the whole push for get your kids an Apple Watch. And then we've got iPhone SE, again, aimed at kids. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think it's a push in the right direction. They're pushing up the prices of iPhones to just ridiculous levels, and now they want you to buy watches for your kids as well. Seriously? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, Apple. One area where Apple do get it very right, in my opinion, is their environmental credentials, using recycled aluminum. You even spell it differently, Americans. It's good. Aluminium. We spell it differently. That's how it's said here. Anyway, but the rare earth metals that go into the boards and things like that, that's great. I think that they really are doing the right thing, and you can have all the arguments that you like about whether or not they're 100% green, because obviously we've got peak power and all those kind of things in terms of when you're using the power and when it's available and where they're producing it and all those kind of things. But I do think that they are certainly kind of leading the way and heading in the right direction, and more of us need to do that. More companies need to do that. Governments need to do that. We all need to do that. So props to Apple on that one. And now we move on to Apple One. They have the perfect opportunity here, in my opinion. Apple's thing is one more thing. That's Apple. That's Steve Jobs. One more thing. And then you go, bang. This should have been at the end of this presentation. It should have been, and one more thing, Apple One. It fits in perfectly. Is the service a good idea? There is something in this, and bundling it together makes it a much more attractive proposition. But in terms of delivery, again, it should have been the last thing. It should have been the last thing. It should have been the one more thing, and it wasn't. But the subscription service is at an expense that you need when you're already paying for maybe Spotify and Netflix. How many services do you need to pay for? Again, in Australia, we're not used to paying for cable TV, so therefore having multiple streaming services really seems like a big waste of money. I know that in the US, multiple streaming services is still probably a lot cheaper than potentially a cable package you may have once had. I've never had cable TV in my life. We have good free-to-air TV, and now we've got streaming here. We do have a cable TV channel, but I've never subscribed to it. Let's jump back in. Apple talk about iPad next in this presentation and talk about iPad leaving the competition in the dust. There is no competition. As far as I'm concerned, there really is no serious competition for iPad. So they've introduced a new iPad Air, and the colors look great. They've got, it's very reminiscent of the old iPods. Now, what can we say about this? It seems to be that the thing with Apple's product ranges is when they introduced the very thin and very small 12-inch MacBook, cannibalized the Air a little bit. And now the iPad Air seems to be cannibalizing the iPad Pro. Who would buy the smaller iPad Pro right now? It does have some features that this one doesn't, but are those features enough to warrant going there? The other thing that they've reintroduced is Touch ID is back, and it's in the power button. But that's a really interesting step forward. Obviously, in the world of face masks, Touch ID is going to be important. What I'm interested to see is if they introduce in those premium products like iPad Pro and iPhone Pro, will they introduce Touch ID and Face ID? So have the Touch ID in the button, but still have the Face ID. I love Face ID. It's so quick and fast. I don't want to necessarily give it up. Will they kind of have a combination of both? So they're covering all the bases. That would be perfect. The colors on these iPads make them a little bit fun, a little bit different. But again, Apple likes to do those kind of things just to kind of sell a few extra products. We're getting close to the end now, but a kind of controversial note is by the time you're watching this video, it's already out. You may have already downloaded it. But a bit of controversy with Apple announcing the launch of iOS 14 without really giving developers as much notice as they normally do. It's a complicated issue, and if you don't understand app development, like a lot of people going, oh, but you've had the beta for ages, you shouldn't be whinging. You don't understand app development, but people love to yell on the internet. Basically, it's put developers in a little bit of a hard spot where their apps, their final versions of their apps may not be ready and may be buggy. I haven't downloaded it, and until I've checked some of the key apps that I use every day, I'm not downloading it. It's as simple as that. I'm happy to give it a few days, a day here or there, it's fine. So Apple may be kind of messed up a little bit on this one, seemingly because developers are a little bit frustrated by this move by Apple. So we had a bunch of game developers, app developers, but none of them were Epic, surprisingly enough. So what did you think? Some people might have been underwhelmed because there wasn't more products, but there will be more products coming. Of course, iPhone 12 is on the very close horizon. There's many other things that are being talked about. Apple Tags, a new Apple TV potentially coming, those Macs with some Apple Silicon. There's a lot of things that could still come in 2020. As much as this year has been flying by in some ways and dragging on in others, there's still more to come from Apple. What do I think of these products? Again, the Apple Watch, it's an evolution. It's not a revolution. Some new colors because limited new features. Yeah, all in all, the iPads look good. As I said, they probably cannibalize some of the other sales, but you know that's just part of the company trying to evolve their products. There's going to be those crossover points where they can't launch everything all at once, and yeah, that's going to happen from time to time. Love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Sorry I haven't been doing videos for a while. I may cover that in another video. I'm Simon. This has been TechnoLife Video. This has been Apple's presentation. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.